Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Sarah Labrat and I was just in New York for 2 weeks. I'm going to be splitting up all of the vlogging that I did into 2 videos, and this is part 1. The next one will be my next upload. It kind of felt like there was a natural break after spending a couple of days in the city and then going to upstate New York and then going and spending a couple days at the beach in New Jersey. And then the next vlog is going to be a week in New York City. If you go on to enjoy this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up because that really supports my channel. And now without further ado, let's get into this New York vlog. In college, I didn't go to NYU, but I studied abroad with NYU's Writers in Paris, which was a study abroad program for a month in the summer of 2017. And I took writing classes and met other writers and just like spent a month writing in Paris. And so my trip to New York was visiting one of the people that was in that program with me. Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Sarah Labrat. I am now in New York City. I got in very late last night and today has been relatively chill, trying to catch up on a little bit of work. Not really catching up, trying to get ahead on a little bit of work, but that's primarily finishing up some YouTube videos to schedule those to post over the span of this trip that I'm currently on because I am in New York City, if you cannot tell from the street noise. But for today's vlog specifically, I am going to be doing something very exciting, which is going to an influencer's workshop on how to create profitable influence. That's what it's called. It's hosted by Kathrin and Kameron Monet. I've followed Kathrin for a long time and I'm stoked that I'm in a city where they're doing this workshop. And when they first announced it, I was kind of bummed because they weren't going to Utah or Minnesota, which were definitely the 2 cities that I was looking out for. And then I booked my trip to come to New York, kind of didn't think twice about it. And then they advertised it again because cities were selling out. And I realized that the date that they were going to be hosting a workshop in New York, I didn't have any plans in New York, which was thrilling. So on my way to that, I'm gonna grab dinner, which is in like an hour-ish, even though it's gonna be at like 4:30. And then I'm gonna head over to that workshop, which is 6 to 9 p.m. and kick off my New York trip with learning from them. I'm on my way to dinner and then the workshop. I think this goes without saying, but there is so much amazing food in New York and there's so much amazing vegan food in New York. So I went and got vegan sushi at Beyond Sushi and it was so freaking delicious. And it's a spot that I've been following on Instagram for a while. And so the fact that I had like a day to myself where I got to go treat myself to some fun New York City vegan sushi before going to this workshop hosted by 2 creators that I followed for a while and love, literally called Creating Profitable Influence and like how to scale being a creator online. I was just thriving. Like, what a way to start off this New York trip. The person I was visiting was also busy this day, so I got to figure out how to use the subway on my own, and thankfully it was only on one line, but I was able to find my way to the building that I needed to be at for the workshop.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
The workshop went from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. and oh my gosh, the 3 hours flew by. I learned so much. I should go grab my notebook. This thing. I feel like I took so many notes. Okay, like the back and front of 4 pages, which is pretty solid for 3 hours. I loved being able to talk to creators in person. I think there were 11 or 12 of us that were attending this workshop with the 2 creators that were hosting it. And it was so much more helpful than like watching a YouTube video because often people aren't comfortable with talking about numbers because they're scared that certain brands will see and then feel like they don't have to pay a creator as much as like a creator might have now grown to and be asking for. And so I know a lot of people are secretive about numbers, but because this was in person, we got to hear like their opinions on how much creators should be charging for brand deals and like how to go about getting brand deals and sponsorships and affiliate marketing and growing your income streams and so on and so forth. And I felt like it was so incredibly helpful. They also gave some suggestions on like getting an S Corp and a SEP, which is a retirement account for self-employed people. And then I just kind of hung out after the workshop for about 20 minutes waiting for people to leave, kind of like listening to various conversations happening. And I learned another thing that was super helpful with Instagram and how to reset story engagement, which I had no idea about until I like listened to this, and it wasn't even a part of the workshop itself. It was a conversation that happened after. And I am like so incredibly happy that I decided to go to this because this was exactly the information that I was looking for and I have not been able to find online. So again, what an incredible incredible way to kickstart my New York trip, especially because I had worked ahead for this trip to be able to not do too much work while I was there, that I was able to just kind of like sit and ruminate on some of these ideas and concepts and then just kind of like brainstorm slowly over the course of the trip on how to scale and build my business, which was very, very cool. But after the workshop, the person that I was going to visit came and met me down where the workshop was, which I believe was closer to Midtown or K-Town. Don't totally remember. And then we went out to dinner, and then we went to a bar called Patent Pending, which is the same building that I believe Nikola Tesla used to either work in or live in, or even potentially both. And the drinks were phenomenal. Apparently it is like one of the best bars in New York City, and the drinks that we had were incredible. It was kind of funny because I ordered one and she ordered one, and I liked hers better and she liked mine better. So we ended up switching drinks, but it was a really fun environment, very cool, very like speakeasy-ish. You have to go through like the back wall of a coffee shop to get into the bar area. And then on the way back, we ran into this statue of Oscar Wilde, which I had to take a picture with because, you know, I'm a writer. So that was the first full day in New York. The next day was Barbenheimer. We started out with some breakfast at Innocent yesterday. I got an avocado toast. She got a croissant, egg and cheese. And then of course I had to grab some cookies for the road. I have never dressed up for movies before, but there was so much buzz around Barbie and Oppenheimer coming out on the same day and people talking about going to dress up to see these movies. So we decided to dress up. And so we did Oppenheimer first and then had a couple of hours and then went and saw Barbie. So I've never dressed up for a movie before, but we're doing Barbenheimer today. So we're doing Oppenheimer first and then Barbie, and we're dressing up for both of them. Oops. These suits were so stunning. They were Anya's grandmother's ex-husband's suits that her grandmother had tailored for herself and then had tailored for Anya's sister. And so Anya's sister had them in her closet when we went to ask if she had anything that we could wear going to see this movie. And she said yes and pulled out these two suits. And it was so much fun to get to wear a really exquisitely made suit to go see a movie. Then we went grocery shopping to make a sheet pan veggie pasta with a bunch of really delicious looking veggies and some vegan mozzarella. There was so much garlic in this thing. It was delicious and jammy and just absolutely incredible, and for sure the right choice before going to see Barbie. So then we changed into our Barbie outfits and went to that movie. The next day started bright and early with bagels and then going to a rental car place to then discover that they didn't have a rental car for us even though we had a reservation because we were supposed to be going to Upstate New York for one of Anya's friends' music videos that was being shot. And so we sat around the apartment for about 2 hours waiting for them to get cars in so that we could leave for the 2.5-hour drive up to Phoenicia, New York, which admittedly was a very pretty drive. Not quite the same as Utah, but very lush and very pretty. We just got to Upstate New York and I want to show you guys around the Airbnb that we're staying at for my friend's video shoot. The Airbnb itself was really cool, but kind of still very small, even though it was like 3 or 4 bedrooms. But there were 10 people staying there, and thankfully we were only there for a night, but 10 people is a lot for one Airbnb. So it definitely got very messy very quickly because everybody's stuff was everywhere. But it was a very cute Airbnb, and I wanted to get some short video clips for my shorter form content, i.e. my Instagram Reels, my TikToks, and my YouTube Shorts. And so I did kind of have to like clean or sort of clean the areas that I was shooting in. Like I would set up my shot and then like move everything out of the shot to make it look a lot better. And then I would film my little like typing videos, and then I would like move people's stuff back and then move to another location and kind of do the same thing. I don't want to be mean here, but these city kids did not know how to light a fire. Anya and I were very much put in charge of that. So we got to Upstate New York yesterday. They ran through all of the shots for the music video, and now today they are currently outside shooting. I was inside making some content because there's some really cute parts of this Airbnb that I just needed to capture for some Instagram Reels. I will say that 10 people staying in this one Airbnb is kind of a lot. So I'm definitely happy that we were only here for one night. I know that the others are here for like more like like 3 or 4 nights. But now I'm gonna go outside and check in on their filming. All of this music video was shot outside, and a lot of it was just traipsing through the woods. And as much as I love traipsing through the woods, there is poison ivy in upstate New York, and I have done so well my entire life not getting poison ivy. But I got poison ivy when I was up there. I don't know when, but at some point in time, my leg must have brushed a leaf or something, because I got a very small spot of poison ivy, and thankfully it didn't spread because I was on the lookout for poison ivy. I was warning other people of poison ivy, but I unfortunately did get a tiny spot of poison ivy that has since healed. We were in upstate New York for probably about 36 hours. And then we drove the 2.5 hours, or at least what was supposed to be 2.5 hours, ended up being 4 hours from Phoenicia back down to New York City. And then decided that we were just gonna keep going because we had plans to go to the beach either that next morning or that night. And even though it was like 10 p.m., we decided to just keep going. So we took the train from New York City over to New Jersey, borrowed a car from Anya's parents' house, and then drove an hour and a half from New Jersey down to the beach. And I think we got in at 3 in the morning, and it was a very long travel day, but very worthwhile being able to wake up. I was just able to start enjoying island life right away. I love a good putt-putt. Whenever I drive past a putt-putt that looks good, I always have to go. Whether it's that day or like later that week or something, whenever I see a good putt-putt, I have to do it. I love putt-putt. Hate golf. Can't really get behind golf. Although that's also very strongly phrased because I haven't golfed in like probably since I was like 9. But I haven't golfed since then, but I love a good putt-putt, especially like a well-crafted course, one that's like really fun. This course had a really fun hole where you had to hit the ball in the water in order to get it close to, or at least closer to the hole. And all in all, love a good putt-putt. If you have not either ever been to putt-putt or have not been in a while, look up putt-putt in your area and try to go, because it is just, it's always a good time. We spent some great time at the beach. We saw the lighthouse. We spent some time walking along the water and just like enjoying the sunny day and the lovely, lovely views. And being able to walk in sand and water again barefoot is just such a grounding experience and was really lovely. And also really interesting because it felt like my New York trip was split up into essentially 3, even 4 different trips. The first like 2 or 3 days in New York City itself, and then upstate New York, and then going down to the beach, and then of course the next vlog, which is the week in New York. But it was a really nice division of the 2 weeks where it wasn't just all New York City, which would have been fun too, but it was fun that it feels like it was like multiple different trips within one larger trip. While we were walking along the pier, we were stopped by a guy asking us if we wanted shark teeth that he had gathered. And while I wasn't interested and I just kind of wanted to keep walking, Anya stopped and was like, sure, let's see what you got. And so he takes us back over to his tackle box, and propped up on this guy's tackle box is a picture of the book that he wrote. And this is why I'm mentioning it. I'm gonna link his book down in the description box below because I really feel like we should show this guy some love if you guys have any interest in his book, because what he was doing in giving out these shark teeth that he had gathered in Georgia was just trying to get people to potentially be interested in buying his book on Amazon. It was the cutest and most wholesome marketing we've ever seen. And I like asked him questions about his book and everything. Apparently he worked on it for like 26 years, and I was just like so incredibly like blown away by like how passionate he was like talking about his book. And it was the cutest thing ever because it's literally a picture of the book cover, and then handwritten around it, it says Amazon.com, Amazon.com, Amazon.com. Again, I will be linking it down in the description box below, but it's called Bad to the Bone by John J. Lamb. And I absolutely went home and I ordered it because I just appreciated this guy so much for marketing his book this way. And I got a pretty sweet shark tooth out of it too. And then after our time at the beach, we hit really weird weather on the way back, but we went back to New Jersey, dropped off the car at Anya's parents' house, and then rode with her parents back into New York City right by Times Square for her mom's birthday dinner, which was very fun to be a part of. And then I got to go see Times Square again very briefly as we were walking back to the subway. And that was part 1 of my New York trip. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Sarah Labrat. Make sure you like and subscribe, and part 2 of this vlog, and that video will have some book editing in it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.